everyone. My name is Catherine, and welcome to my channel, Read, Journal, Love. Today, I thought I would talk about a type of book that I have found recently that seems to kind of be something I really enjoy. So I thought I would share a little bit about it, and hopefully y'all will leave some comments with maybe some recommendations of books you know that would fit this genre, criteria. Not sure really what it would be. I'm not quite a book expert. So I last night, just finished such a good book. And this is what kind of made me start to think about it last night as I was trying to go to sleep. So I just finished The Divine Proverb of Streusel by Sarah Brensvold. And it was a 5-star read for me. So much like this book. And one thing what made me think about what I want to talk about is that I don't know if it's intergenerational, multi-generational, or just generational, but I like in a story when you have several generations represented. And I like when it's a family. It doesn't always have to be a family, but if you have several generations in a family in the book, I think that really attracts me to the story. And so, I don't know, what would you call that? Multi-generational? So, this was so good, y'all. I recommend it. And so I made a little list of what just kind of came to my mind that I've read that kind of fit this criteria. And I'm going to go with the most recent, which would be The Divine Proverb of Streusel to the oldest. And I don't have physical copies of everything because, I read a lot on my Kindle or I check them out. And so the next one from this would be Bless Your Heart, Ray Sutton, and that is by Susanna Lewis. It was really cute. I gave it 4 stars, and it's about a lady who recently goes through some changes in her life, and so in her marriage, and she just lost her mom, and so she has to go back to her hometown. And her mother had this little, I think it was called the First Thursday Club or something. And so it was, her mother's friends, but then she ended up still hanging out with them. So, you had 2 generations there, and then she has a child. So there's another generation, and just about learning about her family and more about her mom that she didn't know, and how it impacts her own life and her child's life. And I just like that. And that book had so much cute Southern charm. If you like Southern stuff, I recommend that book for sure. I think it was Louisiana or Alabama that it was set. Maybe it was Missouri. Somewhere in that little vicinity down there. So recommend that. And then The Secret Keepers of the Old Depot Grocery. That was a 5-star read for me. Absolutely loved that book. Again, it's 3 generations, the grandma, the mom, and the daughter. And it's about so many things, but it revolves around that grocery store and that the mother owns, and then the daughter. And they each have these secrets that they're keeping from one another. And they, eventually get revealed, and they learn a lot about their family history, and so good. So good. And then the next one, of course, is The Extraordinary Deaths of Mrs. Kipp by Sarah Brensvold. 5-star read for me. And are you seeing a trend here? 4 and 5 stars in all of them so far. And that was my favorite book of 2022. Yeah, that was the best book. And again, now they're not a family, but it's a young girl in her 20s and then a lady And I think she was in her 80s, late 70s, early 80s. I can't remember right off. But yeah, so good. So good. And then another one I thought of that I really enjoyed, it was a Christmas novella by Melody Carlson, one of my favorites of hers. And that's A Quilt for Christmas. And it's about a lady who again, I think she was in her 70s, maybe late 60s. And she moves back to where her children had got a job or something. And then they end up having to move for another job. And so then she's stuck in this town where she doesn't know anything. And she gets a request from a young girl to have a quilt made for her mother. And oh my, yeah, it was very, very touching, and it was perfect for Christmas and quilts, family, multi-generational. Very good. I gave it 4 stars. Another of Miss Melody Carlson's Christmas novellas that I gave 4 stars would be The Christmas Joy Ride, in which, again, I think the lady was in her 30s, and then there was an older lady, and she is moving to where her son lives in Arizona. I think it was from Chicago. And she was going to travel in this RV, and there was a younger girl who's going through some life stuff, and she's like, no, I'm not letting you travel in that RV all by yourself. So she goes along with her. So it's their joyride at Christmas, and they put lights on the RV, and they're all their little stops along the way. And of course, the older lady teaches the younger lady a lot of things, and they work through their life issues. And so I just like that sharing of wisdom and just the bonds that are created between the different characters in these books. So I recommend that, 4 stars. And then another recent one is The Best Summer of Our Lives by Rachel Hout. Now, I put this one in here because, it's dual timeline, and in the older one, there is a lady that's kind of a mentor to one of the girls in the book, Summer. And then there's the lady that owns the camp where they go to do their community service. And so there's a lot, especially with the older lady in Summer, there's a lot of interaction there. So I put this in there because I really like that book. 4 stars. And then the next one, I put this one in here. It's part of a series, part of a cozy mysteries, but I thought it really fit. And this is one thing I like about those are the Every Dog Has a Bone, but this one was Every Dog Has His Day by Janice Thompson. And multi-generations within this family, and they're all taking part in the book, and they're close, and they help each other, and they each have their own little story. And so I really appreciated that about that book. One of the many things. 5-star read for me. Well, I think I gave it 5. Maybe I only gave it 4. I think I gave it 4 because I felt weird giving 5 to a cozy mystery, but in my heart it has a 5, I think. And then one that I just reread earlier this month, which maybe that's why it's so fresh in my brain about these multi-generational books. It's called Elvis Takes a Back Seat, and it's by Leanna Ellis. And I think this was in 2005 or something. So it's an older book. You could probably get it at your library or on eBay. But it is so good. So good. And I read it for a book club years ago. And so I just reread it. And it's about 3 generations. And it was it's a lady, and then her aunt, or is it her great aunt? Her aunt, and then a friend's child who is almost like family. The lady had just lost her husband, and so there's that issue, in the background, and So the husband that had just passed was like a big Elvis fan, okay? And he had a bust of Elvis, like a bust, like an art thing. And he wanted it to be taken back to Graceland, or this place, not Graceland, but this place near Graceland. And so the three of them set out on the mission to take this back. And there is so much involved. And it's just like the secret keepers of the old grocery depot. They each have an issue. They're hiding a secret. And how they work through them and come together and help each other. They teach so much to that young girl. And she's like a teenager. I think she's like 16. And so good. If you like Elvis, the South, you will love that because there's so many Elvis references. It's great. I love that book. She has another one. It doesn't really fit this, but it's called Ruby's Slipper, and it's about, the Wizard of Oz. And I really enjoyed that too, but it doesn't really fit this criteria. Anyways, I gave that one 5 stars because I've read it twice and I just really loved that story. And then the last one I'm putting in here is called The Locket, and that is by Richard Paul Evans. I don't know if this is really like a Christian book, but a lot of times, we have it in the church library, so it kind of is classified that way. So this one is about a young man that is having some life issues, and he gets a job working as a nurse's aide in a nursing home, and then he befriends this lady, and there's a bunch of he gets framed, and it's about their relationship, and it's deep. I bawled my eyes out in that one. Yeah, it was good. So, but he's such a good writer. So what do you think? Have you read any of these? Can you think of any more? What would you call this? Just generational or multi-generational? Is it a thing? I don't know. Just kind of curious. These are just some of the books that obviously I love a story about relationships between multi-generational. It doesn't have to be all women. Like in The Locket, it was a man and an older lady, and they weren't even related. So what do you think? I'd be excited to know if you have any recommendations, what your thoughts are. Please leave a comment. They always make my day. Okay, thanks. Bye.